What's up, it's me, Gazbot. I'm getting the cats their food while I film this little intro. 100 Days of Making Comics, as most of you at this point probably know, is the comic book challenge created, originated, popularized, all of those by Mr. Kevin Cross of Monkey Mod and Friends Show and other art fame. He got this thing going. It was, I guess, the 100 days of doing whatever was something that existed before him, but he modified it for comics specifically, and now it is a movement, it is a group, it is people such as myself who do the challenge. Sometimes it ends up in an anthology, and that is what I am working on right now. I'm working on my story for the second anthology. It's called Werewolves and Unicorns. My story, tentatively called Satan, Please Make Me a Werewolf, and or Turn Me into a Werewolf. Clearly tentative. And the other thing is, what I mean to say, I'm slightly distracted by the cats screaming in my ear, is that 100 days, for those that don't know, it's like what it sounds. 100 days in a row, no weekends, no vacations, no in-laws from out of town, no, I had to work late that day, doesn't matter. You get sick, you keep going, you do 30 minutes somehow, your car breaks down, you draw something on a pad in your car. 100 days in a row, 30 minutes minimum each day, working on your own personal comic project. Not client work, nothing else. I better feed these guys. But that's what it is, and that's what we're doing. Now you're happy. Now you're chompy. So it's around midnight, and I worked on a Power Rangers print for the show, the convention I'll be going to. Did my Power Rangers Twitch show, which will now be up on YouTube by the time you see this. I finished up the previous video for the 100 days that also will be up before this, obviously. I went out to the movies with my wife. We went and saw Battle Angel Alita. I had previously seen Captain Marvel, which I liked. Battle Angel Alita I thought was even better. Captain Marvel's good, don't get me wrong, but it was another Marvel movie, a superhero movie. You kind of knew what to expect. It was a little different. It was sort of, I compare it to Doctor Strange or Ant-Man in that they're part of that universe, but they're kind of on their own a little bit. More Doctor Strange, because it's a whole like new universe. And I liked it. It was good. I enjoyed it. It wasn't flawless, but it was fun. And Sam Jackson was a lot of fun in it as well. Battle Angel Alita was great. It had shades of, Akira and Blade Runner, and there was just a lot of, like, having not read the anime or watched the manga, I didn't really know much about it other than what she looked like in the name, that she was like this android cyborg thing. That's kind of all I knew going in. I don't even really remember the trailer that much, and I really liked it. The effects were good. There were a few CGI spots where like a little bit not perfect, but overall it was really, really good. I enjoyed the story, and I was engaged, and so I'm happy I saw it in the theater. But all that being said, it is now midnight, just turned midnight, and I have yet to do my 30 minutes, so that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, and done. Just over a half hour. On page 2, inking for my story for the anthology. Panel 2, I had gotten the inks done on the back. I'd started on the kid, finished inks on the kid, did all the shading, and that is now done, and that is my work for today, at least as it pertains to the werewolf story. I think I'm going to go ahead and try to finish up the Power Ranger print I talked about earlier. It's about 1:30. Gotta feed the cats. We'll talk again tomorrow. Wait. We'll talk again tomorrow. But I covered my face. We'll talk again tomorrow. Take 4. We'll talk again tomorrow. Perfect. First time. Behold, day 78. Actually, technically, it's day 79 now because it's after midnight. But it's day 78 because I have not yet done my work and gone to sleep. I spent most of the day doing a Power Ranger headshot for one of the actors I needed to do, of Turbo Blue, which I'll show you in a second. And just other weird life drama stuff that I'm not going to dwell on, but it kind of messed up my whole day. But I still did get that print done, and some other stuff. I had to get some Etsy sales packed up and to send out, and they're packed and ready to go. I'll drop them off tomorrow. Tomorrow, a friend of ours is coming to stay for a few days. He has a job interview, so I won't have the car, but when he gets here, we're going to walk over to IHOP and have a nice breakfast after a nice walk, so that'll be healthy, then not healthy. Then healthy again when we walk home. But I'm going to do my 30 minutes now. Tomorrow, I'm not sure when I'll do it, but I have, 20-something days left, and I'm inking on page 2. I'm confident with the time right now that worst case scenario, even if I'm only getting a half hour to an hour in each day, I should be okay. If not, I'll step it up. Similarly, I'm feeling good about the prints for the show because after today, there's one print that I absolutely have to do, an actor that I have nothing for. Once I do that, I'm into bonus round where it's finishing sets and like being nice to have. So so I'm pretty okay with that. Now the things that I'm still not quite on schedule with, again, the Horror A4 and I have 2 commissions that are outstanding. But my goal is going to be get ready for the show, finish up, get ready for the show, continue working on the werewolf story. Then I'm going to do one of my commissions, continue working on the werewolf story. If it gets in trouble, I'll prioritize that and finish it, but otherwise start working on another commission and then back to the Horror 4. The point is, I'm still behind, but I'm feeling a little more optimistic. I'm mostly worried about the Horror 4, which is a big one, but in the short term, I'm optimistic. I better do my 30 minutes. All right, all done, and say it with me, more than 30, less than an hour. I shifted, more than 30, and say it with me, more than 30, less than an hour. And we're on panel 3 of this little sequence. I got the inking done of the boy and all the background. I got to do the shading tomorrow, and then I'm moving on to the next panel. So tomorrow I will definitely finish this and start the next panel. Yes. Meanwhile, here is the blue Turbo Power Ranger print I was talking about that I worked on today. It took me longer than these usually do, and it came out fine. I'm happy with it. I don't love it. It's not like my favorite one I've ever done. So it's odd that it took so long, and I kind of just got average results. This is yellow, which I'd done previously, and it came out about as good as yellow, but yellow was much quicker for whatever reason. When I do a series, a team like this, I use the same background, and I import one so that I could use the same colors of gray for the lips and the shading. I don't do it for different helmets, but in the same team, I want them to seem cohesive, so if somebody buys a set, they match. Similarly, if you look, well, it's hard to see on her, but I have yellow light highlights, which I put in all the turbo ones, kind of thinking of like headlights maybe, but so that's why there's yellow on here. And then I do manipulate the background. I don't literally just copy and paste, but I use the same colors and textures and things like that. Yeah, that's it for today. I'm going to go take care of cats and maybe take a shower, go to bed, and then tomorrow wake up and do the IHOP thing. So that's it for today. Tomorrow, the outdoors. You getting the stick? It's not the part you're supposed to get. Is this outside? It's the next day. This isn't outside. I'm outside of my house. Man, I need a shave. Look at me, I look like a different person. I'm like from Offspring. All right, now this is proper outside. It's day 79, by the way. I'm Gazbot, still as always, usually today, yes. And I have not done any work. Our friend from out of town came in this morning, as I said, but Q ended up staying home from work. She wasn't feeling 100%, so I had the car. So we still went to IHOP, but without the healthy walking. I ended up getting involved in a bunch of other stuff I had to do, and just got heavily sidetracked by life stuff. So I'm doing a little shopping and picking up some prescriptions and that kind of stuff. I'm gonna go home and try to get some artwork done. And I realize also tomorrow I have a job. I'm teaching a workshop at a library, how to create comics focusing on characters, which I've never done before. Anyway, as I was saying before I so rudely interrupted myself, I have taught some classes. I used to teach a comic book art class at my local comic store. It was a once-a-week thing, but it was sort of an ongoing thing. And I got kind of used to it, but the idea was I would teach different things and they'd come back and, you know, I have no training in being a teacher. I was a substitute teacher for a while for various random subjects at a school, and I was terrible at it. I'm much better as an art teacher, although I'm still not really an art teacher. But anyway, this workshop sounded better because it's just like a one-shot thing. I get paid and they learn a little something, but I realized that while I have a general idea of what I'm going to talk about or what I might do, I don't actually have like a lesson plan. And if only a few people show up, let's say, and they get through some of the things I was thinking about very quickly, I'm going to be like, oh, now we have an hour left. So part of what I'm going to do today is jot down some notes, maybe make some handouts to give them, just stuff to fill time. But that sounds like I'm just giving them busy work, filler work, but more just to like, if I have enough ammo for an hour and a half exactly and something goes wrong, I'm in trouble. So I want to have enough ammo for 3 hours is what I'm getting at. Yes. All right, I got back home. I did a little bit of work on another Power Ranger print, just sort of preliminary. I got my research, my reference rather, and did like kind of a rough sketch. And then I figured things are gonna be a little hectic and crazy the next couple days, so I'm just gonna do my 30 minutes now, because who knows what's gonna happen later tonight. And I did. Finished this panel. Now I had thought I would finish this panel and start this one, but just doing the gray took longer than I thought. I did revise the face a little. It looks basically the same, but I took a few lines out and thinned out a few lines because it was looking a little too old there. And I put in the 2 layers of shadow, which took a little longer than I thought. One of the things I did, I usually do 25% and 25%, so you get 25 and roughly 50%. But because I wanted to make the basement look really, really dark, that's 50%. And then I put another 50 on top of it. So I think I did this earlier in the book too, like for like a nighttime or a lack of light, you know, any given scene, I'm giving 2 shades. But for these darker scenes, I'm still giving 2 shades, but a darker shade. Well, actually, I guess, you know, now I think it's 4 shades, because it's 1, 2, and then 3, 4 on him were different. But you get the point, that there's this bright light source, and this is supposed to look very, very dark. Actually, looking at it now, I almost want to put like a 25% dark over everything that isn't the kid. I might do that. So Change-O, I did it. I put a 20% or 25% layer over everything except for the boy, and then I went in and cut out the doorway and a couple little spots in the stairs for some spot whites, and then I adjusted, erased a little bit of the light on his face there, and I think that works better. It gives it a much more extreme light, and the super light going into the darker dark. Yeah, happy. Oh, one thing I forgot, I have a layer. I don't know if I need to change it or not. Put some eyes in. Yeah, perfect. Okay, good. Now that I made these to be like, are they eyes? Are they little spots of light? Who knows? But you know, like just to make it more creepy. Cool, done. Thanks for the help, me and you guys. If I wasn't talking to you guys, I probably wouldn't have had that thought. So thanks.
Val's Burgers.
Oh, dude.
And this is for my video. It's about art and comics.
Hi, I'm a fan of art and comics. Gazbot.org. I'm at Val's Diner, getting some good old-fashioned milkshakes with my gang. Woo-wee!
Now put this on your head. Just dump it on your head. Yes. I got a root beer float. It has an Andes candy in it and a little bit of Nilla wafer. And this root beer is, I think it's called Railroad root beer. This is good. This is gonna be good for me. Day 80 in a garage. Yeah, things happen in garages. Cars mainly, parking, a lot of that. I guess sometimes people pee if they can't find a bathroom. Just ask the cast of the Jerry Seinfeld show, whatever, who cares? No. Killing time at Target before doing the job at the library today, which I don't know what to do at, and we saw this gentleman. Oh man, here comes the clap. No, clap on. That's not. Hey-oh, oh, it's gonna fall. No? Yep. Hi, it's day 80. What's going on is, well, you saw previously, today's been a crazy day. Our friend Scott is in from out of town, and he's interviewing at my wife's company for a potential job. But we have one car. So she needed to go into the office today early for unrelated work stuff. Like, she works from home a lot and has a flexible schedule, but this week specifically, she has to be there a lot. And like at exactly when they open at 9, I think. I'm not sure. But because of traffic or whatever, that means she needs to leave the house very early. Scott needs a ride there to do his interview. And I need the car later because I was doing a job at a library teaching a comic workshop, a one-time thing. And so basically that means we all got up at like 7:30. None of us got a good night's sleep. Piled into the car, drove to the office. She went up. Well, we had coffee. She went up to go to work. Then like a few minutes later, he went up for his interview. Then I had to kill like an hour to an hour and a half, which luckily, because of other crazy life stuff unrelated to them, I was like, well, maybe I'll go to the store, maybe I'll do this. I ended up being on the phone and on the computer and dealing with stuff. But the point is I was busy for that hour and a half. So then when they got done, they came down. He came down. She still had to work. So then he and I had to kill a few hours before we picked her up from work. So we went to Target and the comic store and kind of just shopped around, and then he got some donuts and whatever. All of this is fine, except it's going on like not a lot of sleep, and there's a lot of walking around. Like when I was on the phone, I was walking around. When we're walking around driving. It's so, even though it wasn't working, it wasn't exactly relaxing. Then around 4:30, we pick her up, and then we all drive to the library, which was about an hour-ish drive because of traffic and stuff. So all I've done all day is walk around and drive, and have no sleep. Had some caffeine. As those of you that follow me know, I try not to have too much caffeine, but I was driving and I had to teach a class, so I had some caffeine. I also wasn't feeling awesome today, maybe because of the not sleeping and the caffeine, but I sucked it up and I taught the workshop, and it actually went really well. I had never done this before. I taught some classes at the comic store, but that was different because it was like a weekly thing for a while, and people were paying to come, and I was paid to do it, but it was free offering, and they had like supplies. You could just show up with nothing and go. And it was supposed to be teens and adults, but there were some kids there that were younger, like 10, and then there was older people too. And I think there was, I lost track, I want to say 12 people maybe. I didn't really count. And I prepared a lot. I knew I'd have to talk for an hour and a half, and I probably had like 3 hours worth of material. I had handouts, which I hadn't previously done, and exercises ready so that, like, you know, if they're not really jiving on my whole philosophy on comics and stuff, it's like, here's a fun drawing exercise we could do, and things like that. So did that, went well. surprising that everyone there was very into it, very respectful, kind of quiet. Like, do you have any questions? And no one's like, no, you know. So I talked a lot while they drew, and you know, hopefully they got value. Most of them seemed to enjoy it. Everyone seemed to be fine. Some weren't like, wow, that was great. They were just sort of quiet. Everyone else seemed to very much enjoy it. At the end, I let them keep the handouts. I couldn't let them keep the art supplies because they belong to the library. Although some people are like, hey, can I keep this? I'm like, I'm sorry, no, it's not mine to give. At the end, I gave out. I had my like business cards. It's like a flyer, it's a postcard. Actually, I have it right here. I don't have it right here, but it's like this size. It's a postcard that is for the Horror A4 issue 2 is the cover, and so it's like an ad for that, and on the back it has all my social media. That's what I give out to people instead of my personal phone number and my email when I'm at conventions and stuff. So I gave everyone there that. I gave everyone a sticker for the Horror A4, and I showed them, hey, this is my comic as part of it, like talking about who I was and stuff. And I brought 4 copies of the comic. I talked to some people, like Dom, for example, was talking about like marketing and things like that. And I talk about when I do conventions, I sell prints, I sell commissions. It's really hard to sell comics, and the short version is why not give them away for free? And I can't because they cost me money. But the idea is like, well, if you sell $40 or $50 in prints, the markup on that is higher. Somebody's willing to drop all that money. Maybe give them a comic. So I lose a few bucks in the comic, but overall I'm still making money. Got my comic out into the world. Maybe for free they read it. Maybe they buy issue 2. It's sort of taking a loss, not a loss, but less profit to get it out there. And I've considered that. I haven't done a show since that theory was put in my head. But I realized for the money I was making to do this job, if I gave away like 4 comics, I'd be losing like $10, you know, ish. And so I was like, well, I could afford, would I have taken this job if it was $10 less? Maybe, yeah, sure. So that's $10, and that wouldn't be enough to give a comic to everyone, but who knows if everyone's going to want it. So at the end I said, I have this comic, it's kind of like a Godzilla thing, it's rated PG, you know, if anybody's interested. Don't just take it because I only have 4. So if it interests you, you know, here you go. And so one person raised their hand and I gave it to her, and then I turned around and like half everyone else had it up. Maybe not everyone, but like way more. And I'm like, so I kind of just tried to randomly pick a few people and not be a jerk about it. And other people were very disappointed. I'm like, that didn't go quite how I thought it would. But what I realized, I said, well, I'll tell you what, everybody else, if you contact me through one of these social medias and mention that you were in the class, I can send you a free digital copy, a PDF of it, because that doesn't cost, I didn't say this, that didn't cost me anything. And it occurs to me that maybe I should get, because again, if someone's dropping a lot of money, give them a free copy of the comic, it is nice to have a tangible thing. But if my goal is to just get the comic out there to people who might actually read it, it doesn't really it costs me time, but it doesn't cost me money to give away the digital copy. I'm losing the profit, yes, but I'm losing the profit on the physical one too, and I'm also losing the money I cost to print it or whatever. So I might try to get some kind of card or mailing list or some way to give people a free digital copy as opposed to a free physical copy. It's just something I'm thinking about. But anyway, it went pretty well. Then we went out to eat, like a late dinner, and I had caffeine there too, which I didn't want to double up on caffeine, but I had to drive home, and here I am, and I knew I had to do my 30 minutes for 100 days. I'm feeling tired now, so I'm hoping the caffeine's wearing off so I can go to bed soon. It's about 1:30. I don't have to get up early tomorrow, but I do have a caricature job in the evening, and I wanted to get art, you know, on prints and other things done during the day. So I put in between 30 minutes and an hour today, as usual. I'll show you what I got. This panel has a lot of shading and effects and things like that, but I just did the inking on the boy, and I might revise his hair a little bit. There's something that didn't quite translate, and the werewolf. And the werewolf I'm pretty happy with. I did a few different thicknesses of line to get the hair texture, and he's going to be kind of blown out with light and shadow, and like a lot of these details are going to drop out anyway, but I'd rather have it than not have it. And this took me, again, between 30 and 60 minutes. There was someone in chat in the Hundreds group. I think it was Sandy Cheers. I'm terrible at remembering things, but they were talking about doing the challenge again. And does anyone have any advice so you don't fail and stuff? And one of the things I was saying, and a lot of people were saying, was like, just do the 30 minutes. Don't try to conquer the world. Don't try to make amazing videos. You know, just make sure you get your 30 minutes. That's number one. And do that every day, because a lot of people try to do 3 hours every day, or I'm going to finish a page a day, or here's my crazy video, and they do awesome for 3 days, 10 days, 20 days, and then they burn out and fall apart. So like, just start slow and steady. And I've said this before, slow and steady wins the race. And then I said, and they're like, yeah, but I feel less pressure to post, and what am I going to even show? And what I said was, you know, and if you've been following my Instagram or other social media, I post a picture every day just about. In the beginning, I think I might have had some script pictures and then design, and then now I've been posting pictures of what I've been doing. And I was saying, like, I typically post, like, it takes me 4 or 5 days to finish one panel. usually on average, because I've been doing 30 to 60 minutes. I'm like, what, you mean a page? I'm like, no, a panel, because to take it from roughs to pencils to inks with gray, that's going to take me between 2 and 4 hours per panel. And if I'm putting in 30 to 60 minutes a day, that's going to be 4 or 5 days on average-ish. Now, that's broken up because I showed you the pencils, like, 30 days ago. Now I'm working on the inks, whatever. But my point stands that, like, yeah, 5 days of progress, 1 panel. And I hope that puts it into perspective, like, it can be slow progress. But it also cuts the other way, where I've been doing that, and I've said this before, I've been doing 30 to 60 minutes most of this challenge, and I wrote it, laid it out, penciled it, have rough lettering, and I'm halfway through inking the second of 4 pages. Now we're on day 80, so I'm feeling the pinch a little. We're about 3 weeks out from having to have it done, and I'm feeling the pinch a little bit of time, so I might need to ratchet it up, and after I get the prints done for Power Morph Kind Express, I will be working on this more heavily. But if I didn't have that deadline looming, it's totally believable that with just a hair above the bare minimum effort, in the 100 days, I could have, from scratch, created a 4-page comic and have it completely done. Just 30 to 60 minutes a day. So while it seems like not much, it adds up. And if it wasn't for the deadline, I wouldn't be sweating it at all, but I gotta hit my deadline. Yeah, I guess that's it for today. I gotta feed the cats and do some other stuff, and I'm gonna go to bed, and then I'll talk to you tomorrow. So thanks for coming along and seeing things with me. If you see behind me, I am doing a caricature job today in the Fairmont Hotel. And I've been here before, but it's done up for this event. It's a pre-wedding party. I believe it's called a Sangeet. I might be mispronouncing that. An Indian cultural thing. It's awesome. It's like we stepped upstairs and it became a different thing. Oh, look over here. I don't think that's normally here. Oh, wait, oh. There's a whole nother thing in there that's not part of what I'm doing. I don't think. And maybe that's for the wedding tomorrow? I don't know, it's pretty awesome. It's day 81, by the way. I didn't get a great night's sleep, but better than the last 2 nights' sleep. And I worked on my werewolf stuff earlier today. Put in more time because, as I said, I'm feeling the crunch, and it was about, I want to say about 2 hours, and I finished the panel that I started yesterday, completely done. I'll show you that. But I have this caricature job now, which I'm starting in like 2 seconds. I just wanted to use the bathroom real quick. So that's why I had a chance to talk to you fine folks. You're talking to me before and after I did bathroom duty. And now we're gonna head back in. I was running a little late to the job. Not so late that I was late, but I was just getting worried about it. And there wasn't a lot of on-street parking, and it was drizzly, so I was worried it was raining. So I just did valet parking, which I wasn't sure how much it was gonna be. I mean, I was making enough money that I would still come out ahead, obviously, but usually I have it that they have to pay for parking if necessary, but it wasn't really necessary, so I wasn't gonna make them pay it. But they gave me a coupon for validated valet parking. So basically I got valet parking that I'm waiting to be picked up now and didn't have to pay for it, so goosh! Yesterday there was a lot of downtime at that job, and the balloon twister lady, I gave her a free caricature and I got a free orange cat balloon. Do 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 do. Meow.